She has never done this before, you guys. Okay, this is getting so trippy, everybody. Okay, now just going to the other side.
What in the absolute fuck? Come on, man. It's literally the month of May already, and we gotta still see more of this garbage? Come on. I'm ready to go bass fishing here in like a week, everyone, and it's still doing this crap? I don't know. Maybe it is time for me to move.
Many of you guys out there that have a love for reptiles probably know the story about the Burmese python invasion in South Florida. It really actually started so many years ago, as far back as like the early 90s. There were actually a couple of incidences too with Burmese pythons going far back as like the early 80s, but that wasn't really when the actual invasion started. A couple of those pythons that were found back then in the 1980s were actually more like released pets by irresponsible pet owners back in the day, because I guess back then, when it is 1980, pet care was a lot different back then compared to today. Now, when we discuss how the Burmese python invasion started, I'm going to share with you guys with that here in just a moment. Before we do, make sure you guys like and subscribe for me, and so we'll go ahead and continue on with today's discussion with yous. So basically, the Burmese python invasion first started somewhere right around the late time of the year of 1992, when a major hurricane, Hurricane Andrew, actually struck the southeast corner of the state of Florida, directly over the city of Miami in particular, and the hurricane, at being a Category 5 status at monstrous proportions. The storm actually, not only did it go right directly over the Miami metro area, but it also struck a small snake breeding facility as well, where it was actually breeding mostly Burmese pythons there, and the facility was completely demolished by the storm, and literally dozens of cages for where the snakes were contained in, unfortunately, were completely destroyed, and that's how some of the snakes got loose. And unfortunately, a majority of the snakes were never recovered. Now, obviously, because of that, the storm's damage was so severe that they literally could not actually do two things at once, something like that, whether it's like recovery efforts or looking for loose, like, captive pets, from pet stores or anything like that, until finally, when the Burmese python invasion started, they started to pop up more. Now, there has been theories over the years, like, some of these Burmese pythons have been popping up over the years. Some people say it's because some people release them as pets, Now, I feel like that's a very small piece right there, very small. The big piece is from the cause of a natural disaster. Now, obviously, this python invasion did not start by human beings, you guys. It started just from a natural disaster that, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to get fixed. Because obviously the Burmese pythons over the last 3-4 decades has really thrived now in the Florida Everglades. Obviously, about just a little over a decade ago, the FWC and the state senate actually put out an official ban of breeding Burmese pythons in the state of Florida. And also, not too long afterward, people in the state of Florida that had just generic a pet Burmese python were officially were prohibited from ever having one. So, with that being said, it really is a pain in the butt here. But the good news is, though, is that my girl Ellie here, she is not a Burmese python, because she is a children's python. But she's just an absolute puppy dog. She loves it when I tell her good stories like this. So, but regardless, though, some people need to realize how the actual invasion started. And the true answer is it was just from a accidental natural disaster, instead of people saying thousands of people in Florida have released them into the Everglades, which pretty much is just an urban legend here. And of course, you guys just heard recently too on the news just over a month ago, well, actually it was a while ago, there was now a new bill that was passed that would prohibit Burmese pythons, and not just Burmese pythons, you guys, but also reticulated pythons and green anacondas would actually no longer be allowed to be kept as pets in the state of Florida, and they would be banned from being bred here in the state of Florida as well. And of course, there was a deadline put out for some of the snake breeders out there that would have to be forced to rehome their snakes out of state, you guys, to other professional snake handlers as well. Well, you guys do remember hearing about that article incident with the guy named Chris that had almost 3 dozen snakes slaughtered in his care, you guys, by FWC. Ellie, what are you doing? What is she doing? You guys, can you see what she's doing right now? She has never done this before. Oh, I think she's crawling up my neck. She's crawling up my neck, isn't she? She has never done this before, you guys. Okay, this is getting so trippy, everybody. Okay, now she's going to the other side. So like I was trying to say was, everyone, is that now, just not long after all those snakes were slaughtered in that facility, now the state of Florida is actually planning on banning all boa species in the state of Florida. And that's just really, really ridiculous, you guys, that FWC is trying to take control of all the reptile keepers in the state of Florida, you know, from trying to tell them what certain snake species they can keep and they cannot keep. But this is just getting really, really out of hand, because in the state of Florida there is no evidence of any species of non-native boa that's breeding in the state of Florida, you guys. There's no common boas, no green anacondas, heck, there's no even like no Amazon tree boas. Oh, she's never done this before, you guys. Where is she? Oh, is she climbing on my head? This is so cute. Guys, she's never done this before. She's super curious. She must like my hair. Okay, I gotta put her back. I think she's getting too curious, you guys, but I'll continue on with the discussion here in a few moments. So that was something that Ellie has never done with me before, you guys, of all the years of having her. Even though it's kind of weird how the media likes to portray all sorts of snake species, especially pythons, as killing machines. But Ellie here, for example, she's not a killer, you guys. She was actually just curious, you know, like she was just checking out my smell, smelling my hair, figuring out what is this weird stuff. So, because it's never been up there before. So with that being said, even when I was gently removing her, she did not hesitate at all to let me take her off, you know. So with that being said, it's just insane how the news loves to trying to make animals such as these beautiful creatures in a negative way, because I don't know why. I just feel like they just like to do it for attention, I guess, you know. Kind of makes their ratings go up in some ways, and sometimes they kind of admitted it, whether it's like Fox News, CNN, NBC, ABC News. Sometimes they have admitted that before on a few occasions of some articles. But when it comes to animals, especially like pythons here, they're not like killers, you guys. They don't go after people usually. So, and even if the snake did go after a person, there has to be an explanation on why it did that. So, with that being said, I just really think FWC, they're just being too soft about us keeping some specific animals we really like. Alright, everybody, so I have a quick announcement to make to all of you guys that are watching this, by the way. This weekend, it's going to be a very awesome moment here, because you guys have seen me over the last couple years post like maybe a couple fishing vlogs here on the channel, but you guys know that I also have a fishing channel that I actually recently just started posting on there. This coming weekend, everybody, now that it is officially spring and it's officially into the month of May, we have smallmouth bass that are actually just starting to come up to the shallows around our lakes around here, starting to spawn on beds. And this weekend it's supposed to be very, very beautiful, that I am going to be taking you guys along with me on my other channel to start finally going bass fishing for the first time since like September or October. And the water is just slowly warming up, and it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend, highs into the 60s, lots of sunshine. So I'm super excited to officially announce to bring you guys along to finally transition over to bass fishing, you guys, because over the last month I've tried to do some trout fishing and unfortunately it did not go so well. So I wanted to make this quick announcement, you guys, that this weekend I am going bass fishing, and I'm going to be bringing you guys along on my other channel, you guys. So if you guys want to go ahead and follow me on my other channel, go ahead and check out my channel, Jim Goes Fishing, everyone. So feel free to smash that subscribe button for me, you guys, and also turn on that notification bell. And just like that, everybody, that is gonna do it here for today's video, you guys. Again, make sure you guys like and subscribe for me, you guys. Please do that, actually, if you guys enjoyed this all this neat content here, because I'm just gonna go ahead and call it a night here, everybody. I'll see you next time.